Welcome back, everybody, to the VALORANT Champions Tour in Challengers number 3, the main event. We're getting into the lower finals. I'm Alan, I hold shift on it for you. With me, Kevin Averill Walker. And, well, boy, did we have a heck of a couple of games before this one. 100 Thieves just barely able to inch their way over, at times, over Gen G. But that last map, all Asuna all the way through. But before we start digging into some of our kind of emotional reactions after that match and getting us set up for the lower finals, again, big shout outs to HyperX as Legendary Comfort goes wireless with the HyperX Cloud 2s. Built to be an ultra comfortable gaming headset with amazing sound. It really is no wonder that it's become the preferred gaming headset for millions of gamers. Kevin, how you feeling, man? I mean, I don't know if we could get a better setup in those last couple of matches.
Look, just going through a myriad of emotions here. I mean, what an entire tournament. Where do we even start? You know, we came in for day number 1. On day number 2, we decided the top 4 here. TSM don't make it, which is, I think, a bit of a shock to a lot of people. It's crazy. Look, TSM are not going to be in Masters 1. That's insane. 100 Thieves, you know, they come through with new player Ethan, changing up roles for Nitro as well. Looked a little bit shaky on day 1. They dropped a really crazy Icebox map to T1 as well, and then, you know, they come back 2-0 TSM kind of comfortably as well. You look at the scoreline, then the last game we see another 32 round banger. Like, we just got that versus NRG on day number 1, where it required 100 Thieves to make quite a bit of a comeback to go to OT and then quadruple OT, and here we go, we see it once more. And then, you know, obviously you talked about Asuna already coming through on Bind in a huge way to give 100 Thieves the win to get into the lower final.
You know, the funny thing about this 100 Thieves team, they feel very similar to one of the first times that we saw FaZe Clan come out, where a little bit of a shaky start, but grew and adapted very, very quickly. And how about it? FaZe Clan is now going to be awaiting the winner of this next one in the grand finals. Now, to be fair, this is a $50,000 tournament. $37,000 of it is still up for grabs here. $20K to first, $10K for second, and then $7K for third, which is what we're left with here. So as we transition over and taking a look, not just at 100 Thieves, but also Luminosity, who at the beginning of the day lost to that FaZe Clan squad. Kind of where's your head at when you look over both these rosters?
I mean, this to me straight away is going to be a rematch of the last time we saw 100 Thieves versus Luminosity. That was in Challengers 2. That was in, I believe, where was it? It was, I think the game that actually sent 100 Thieves down. Yeah, it was the opening game in the quarterfinals. It sent 100 Thieves down to the lower bracket. But then they had to eventually lose to Sentinels, which kind of cost them their top 4 runs. So this was kind of the game that, in my opinion, really decided 100 Thieves' entire run through Challengers 2, whether they could make Masters or not. And now they've had to kind of work their way through the lower bracket again. They face up Luminosity, but in a different kind of way now. And I look back at that game, really interesting in the case where, like, obviously Dicey was still on the roster there, Nitro was still on the Omen. Luminosity going to be bringing back all their regular picks across all their players. I mean, Thief on Reyna, we're going to be expecting to see a lot more of that today again. It's a real clash of styles. I think the real interesting thing between LG and 100 Thieves is that you have LG being one of the more contact-based teams. They're fast, they're aggressive, they frag out. They know what they're doing on that regard. 100 Thieves are definitely a mid-round kind of team. They're definitely slow down. And even with Ethan on the roster, in fact, especially with Ethan on the roster, moving Nitro onto, you know, basically another support role, only running one duelist, I think 100 Thieves are still going to maintain that mid-round style play. In fact, maybe even slower based on what we've seen so far.
A lot of conversation about how some pros have been thinking that Valorant right now should still be a duelist meta, but we've had a couple of teams find a lot of success outside of it. For this particular best of 3, we need to take a look at what the map set is going to look like here. And, well, if you've been following either of these two teams pretty closely, you should know what the hard vetoes are for both of these squads. That's essentially what we're getting here. 100 Thieves have yet to play on Split at all through the VCT, whereas on Luminosity's behalf, they have yet to touch a Haven. Those will both be the preset vetoes for both squads. It does give us an Icebox for map number 1, and it's been an interesting kind of tale of two cities here for 100 Thieves, because they come off beating TSM 13-4, but in that first day, in the lower round 1 matchup versus T1, they got smoked here. It was 113. They only took 1 offensive round.
Yeah, it's such a weird result because you look beyond that as well. There's Gen G there, 13-4, and, you know, and we are now starting to get into, you know, previous matchups there. Obviously, that Gen G game, we still have Dicey on the roster, but the point being here is that historically, 100 Thieves have been kind of here or there on this map. Versus LG, we have a specific scoreline of 13-10 versus LG, where they actually lost. But they've been good scores. I mean, they've beaten Ambox here, they've beaten Gen G here, they've beaten TSM here. It's that 1-13 result versus T1. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It stands out like a sore thumb. It's one that you almost I don't know that you want to write it off. I don't know that you want to read too much into it. But it's such a strange scoreline to then have them come back, play against TSM, do that well. I think it should still be a good enough map for 100 Thieves to start with. I'm not surprised that Icebox is going to be the picks, though, because for a team like LG, they've been permabanning Haven, and then on their initial pick, they will either go towards Icebox or Ascent, and Ascent has historically still been one of the better maps with 100 Thieves, so obviously we go to Icebox. Obviously, LG are looking towards that 113 and looking to see if they can make some real momentum there.
So, kind of talking over this Luminosity squad at a little bit more length, you know, this is a team that, as they've kind of worked their way in through the VCT, I think coming into the VALORANT Champions Tour Challengers #1, people were still kind of looking at this Luminosity squad saying, what are they actually made of? Like, is this going to be a top contending team? And I feel like we've gotten a handful of responses of, yes, at times they absolutely are, but they're still having a bit of trouble getting over maybe what the top echelon of North America are. Teams like Envy still give them a little bit of a headache, Immortals, Sentinels, those have likely been a lot of the teams that have kind of taken them out of the running for challengers so far. Do you consider that 100 Thieves is in that same category? Or is it still too early to tell because this is still, I mean, essentially a new roster for all intents and purposes?
I mean, 100 Thieves are always meant to be that kind of roster. 100 Thieves were always meant to be a favorite from day one. It's been a surprise to everybody, you know, especially with the Dicey roster as well, considering these are like first strike champions. You look at 100 Thieves, they've always been a solid team. I mean, they're not going to win every single game. I mean, teams like TSM certainly don't. Even teams like Sentinels will drop games. You saw MV beat them, but 100 Thieves, you expected to make way more of a journey so far. And yeah, I will say they got their kind of run cut short via Sentinels and Challengers too, but they also did lose to Luminosity, and this is where you got to bring the conversation back to Luminosity, where this was a team that has been slept on for a long time. This is a team that I think the sort of argument has shifted. If everyone's opinions on LG, I think, have shifted more positively to that they should be a favorite team. LG now, I think you looked at this, a lot of people would have had LG above 100 Thieves in terms of if you were going to rank the teams. All 8 of them, you were going to have LG definitely in the top 4. I don't think there was any doubt that LG was going to make Masters off this event, but just in what position, right? Were they going to be first? Were they going to be second? I definitely think they were going to be above 100 Thieves. Now that we're seeing both here, we're seeing FaZe beat Luminosity. Start to get a little bit of doubt now in terms of, you know, where these two teams kind of stand. I think both teams should actually be within striking distance of each other. It should be a pretty even game.
Another opportunity here as well, where your boy Dre gets a chance to kind of go up against his former organization and maybe flex just a little bit. I mean, the last time they played, it was a very good 3-map series set that we had. That was back during the second Challengers event. So Icebox on the table, you know, expectations be damned when it comes to it. Both teams are essentially running the same agent composition, which has also been interesting. There's been a lot of kind of conversation and change when it comes down to, is Viper actually useful here? Should we still be using Sky? Teams have kind of morphed and adapted really since we got into the open qualifiers for this third Challengers, let alone the main event here. So getting into the map specifically for both of these teams, kind of lay out maybe some of your groundwork for where the success might be found for either two of these squads.
I think every team now in North America that I'm seeing is basically moving towards Raze on this map. People are starting to really see Raze's utility here. Right now, I think dropping off on this map makes sense because the changes to the orbs. So you're going to get the 2 orbs now, whereas you could abuse a lot of orbs on A previously. You know, you just see what Sinatra could do. Really, to me, what comes down to the Icebox meta is, do you want to run 2 duelists or 1? Do you want to? Most teams want to run the Jet, but they also want to run the Raze. Do you want to run both? If you run both, you can't afford to run both Sage and Killjoy. You got to give up one of those 2 options, and both of those options feel pretty good right now. So pretty much every single team in North America has to decide, okay, if you want to run double duelist Jet Raze, that means you're probably dropping the Sage, you're keeping the Killjoy, you obviously have the Omens over there that you can't drop. Otherwise, you're dropping one of the Raze or the Jet, and it does seem, what's quite interesting is that teams are more willing to drop the Jet here than they are the Raze. So we're going to be seeing, like you sort of mentioned, equal compositions. And now for a team like 100 Thieves, they didn't mind going there anyway because they currently don't have a Jet player on the team. They're currently not playing Jet on any map. That works for them. But for a team like LG to kind of drop their Jet from this composition is going to be, it's a different look for a team like LG, especially considering LG used to also play Rennie here. This is definitely a different type of Icebox from them. They did also drop this Icebox to FaZe, so there's that to kind of work the result. But aside from that one Icebox loss to FaZe, they've been TSM, 100 Thieves, Immortals, Kooky Koalas. They've had a decent record.
Yeah, it's been a consistent staple of what Luminosity has done, not just here in this Challengers main event, but also in ones prior. You can only really kind of cite 3 or 4 different matches since we got into the VCT where Luminosity have not played this map, but the same could be said about Ascent, which, as we're waiting for Hiko to walk the dog, quite literally here, it's Ascent that's going to be map number 2, and 100 Thieves, you know, boy, they've gotten their runs on it. I mean, especially lately, going another 32 rounds well together from when they just played up against Gen G. But they have been really kind of polishing up a lot as well. Now, that said, their offense has been a little shaky, but their defense has been really solid. So I think there are some questions as far as can they get their attacking halves going maybe a bit sooner so you don't have to make these dramatic comebacks when you're down 2-10 and things of that nature, which you've seen a handful of times in the last couple of days. But it looks like the dog is happy and very much so walked, and the birthday boy is ready to go here for 100 Thieves, and it will be them starting things off on the attack. And so far, exact expectations, both teams are running exactly what we would have figured.
I'm going to make one correction here, though, just looking over a little bit more information. Yeah, Thief didn't actually used to play Rain on this map. He's been the Jet for this map. Remember, Proto has actually been playing the Ray, so now you've kind of moved a few pieces around. You have Icebox being the map where Luminosity do see the value of Killjoy now, finally, and they're going to be putting Proto back on that Sentinel role while still having, you know, the regular smokes coming on through, plus the Sage. Stellar obviously swapping with your boy Dre here in terms of roles just a little bit to make that work out. And Hiko is obviously going to be the last person to pick. I think most games we've seen in terms of the agent slate, Hiko has just been chilling for a little bit. No surprise on either side. Complete mirror. Sage super strong here. You're going to see a lot of Sages, I think, now start to save their walls for either post plants or specifically on the defense, saving them for retakes here. We're seeing less and less teams just kind of run a wall down mid, down tube rather. They're definitely going to be a little bit more conservative with those types of utility. So let's have a look. Let's get into it. Icebox ready to go. Both teams locked in, equal rosters, same agents.
Pumped for this one. I mean, it's weird to kind of say it, and I don't know, my mind is going there, so I'll say it. It still feels like we're learning so much about this 100 Thieves roster every single time they put themselves on the map. So will there be another instance of that here? Again, we've got some very dramatic polar opposite results on this map just in the last couple of times for 100 Thieves. Again, we talked about that 1-13 loss versus T1, but on the opposite side, a 13-4 win versus TSM to get them to the point where not only do they play versus Gen G, but also, of course, have a chance to square off versus Luminosity here. So, getting into the pistol, again, just taking a look as far as what the setup will look like. You've got the Killjoy placement largely over towards B defensively. Spike is still being left in the spawn for now as 100 Thieves will go searching for information, and they do find a bit as they'll see that Thief is playing pretty aggressively up by yellow.
They're going to be pulling Dre over towards the orange side of the map as well. This is 100 Thieves just kind of going for a bit of default. I'm not surprised if they just pull back here. They're pretty deep over towards A as well. Decent amount of resistance over towards B, and now you're going to start to see that, yeah, 100 Thieves are definitely going to be making their way onto A as Suna has a lot of control.
And the Sheriff play not going to be able to find anything early for Steel, as 100 Thieves will collect themselves in their spawn, decide exactly what they want to do, as they will also recover the Spike, I have to imagine at this point. Sure will. It'll be Steel that'll take it from the clutches of the icy ground, and it looks like it will be a tube play, at least initially. Now, the Spike is not a part of this. Aldrin will scout things out by middle, and there again, there's plenty of information gathering tools here for Luminosity, including the Sentry Drone. Dre will find first blood, and with only 37 seconds to play, you've got to make a move of your 100 Thieves, and unfortunately, they also dropped their Spike carrier. Not exactly the well put together round for 100 T. And as the kills continue to be traded back and forth, it will be LG left with a 1v3 situation, or pardon me, a 3v1 situation. It's Asuna who's stuck as the one.
Has to be a 1v3 here. Has to be the biggest clutch, and he'll get traded here for sure. In fact, he doesn't even get a kill. Dre with 4 this round will be accelerating over towards from the Shadows ultimate. And for 100 Thieves as well, trying to really move over towards the mid. Losing, I believe it was Steel who had the Spike there, so a super important kill coming through from LG. And not a very common thing unless you're, I guess, a team like Gen G that likes to play more for the mid. I felt like, you know, 100 Thieves had decent control over A. They kind of abandoned that one, cancel, go towards mid, and they lose their Spike here. Otherwise, it could have been a mid to B type of play. LG, though, buying up a rifle straight away for your boy Dre after getting a 4K.
Not atypical. We've seen them do that many, many times before. In these second rounds after a pistol win, Recon Bolt will be deleted, but it does come with a bit of information. Spam shots coming through the bottom side of tube. There's also an alarm buy here. Asuna in a lot of danger, but is able to sneak away to safety, and I say sneak selectively or maybe not. Moose able to combine utility with the weaponry for 2. Proto now pushing forward, finds number 3. Does he recognize that Hiko's also nearby? Well, now he sure does. Sees the shoulder. Gonna wait for a little bit of help as Hiko will find one elimination before falling, but it does leave Nitro to a 1v4.
Pretty much flawless here as well. They dropped the one Spectre so far. I mean, if Nitro gets a double dink here, could be a secondary weapon dropped by LG that they won't have to repurchase. But it's looking like it'll be a pretty clean anti-eco for the next round here. Don't really expect Nitro to do... maybe it's a little bit of damage to Moose, but Moose with 3 kills is now 3 away from Hunter's Fury as well. So good farming around from LG there just to collect as much money as possible. Lose as little weaponry as possible for minimal rebuys. Proto is... maybe even just happy to upgrade a pistol here and be on his way. I think the rest of LG are looking pretty safe here. They have some ultimates coming online. Notably, I think Moose's one is quite important. Hiko's keeping parity at 4 and 7 as well as we head into 100 Thieves gun round, their first gun round so far of the map.
I'm interested to see what LG is going to do defensively here, still retaining that Phantom onto your boy Dre. Looks like for now, 3 players will initially stack over towards A. Once again, it will be a Proto by himself, setting up a little bit of defensive resistance with his utility forward by Yell. That'll give information for an early response if required, but Asuna down low. Goodness, how hot has he been, including a double kill with only 1 HP remaining. But Moose in the middle of the map has actually put control in favor of LG's defense. So 100 Thieves, it just comes down to, do you want to try to retake middle or push forward into A? It looks like they're going to do the latter rather than the former.
Rifle's gone as well. Dre had the only gun available. Sooner for 3 now. Just 2 alive for LG. Not looking too hot. Even have a Proto still far away now. Wall has come up. I mean, look how aggressive that wall is. Just gives 100 Thieves full control. Back site, free plant in the open. Showstopper earn. Won't even need to be used here. Moose can't enter. And it's not looking great for a Proto. We'll have to kind of back out. A Proto is the only member that didn't actually have a gun walking in. Just one Sheriff. Only looking for a love tap. Possible finds it on Nitro. But that might be it.
Nearly gets a chance for a second. Knows there's a Phantom nearby. Alarm bot not placed exactly where he wanted to put it. A little bit of comical relief as he looks down at his feet and just has a deep sigh. But it looks like he should be able to get away here. And yeah, it looks like 100 Thieves will allow him to live and collect the Phantom. But regardless, for the gun round for 100 T, it is successful and they get on the board.
Call that one definitely in a sooner round as well. The 3K coming in very quickly, then close killing your boy Dre. I think the only silver lining here, LG just walking away with that one rifle is actually okay. It will save them a bit of economy money. The rest of the members, I mean, we were looking towards a pretty healthy pretty healthy pretty healthy bonus anyway, when you consider the fact that Proto was the only one that had to kind of die on that anti-eco. He had to rebuy into a Sheriff. And he gets free gun. In terms of economy, the other 4 members had the money to play with regardless. This should be pretty comfortable for LG, for at least the time being. I'm looking towards ultimates though. Again, the showstopper is there. We have Hunter's Fury on both sides though, very close.
And you have to feel like for 100 Thieves, they really would want to get Hiko in orb if possible, but they're not going to be setting up aggressively through B to do that, so it would have to be over towards A if they want to try to get this Hunter's Fury up this round. Defensive Aldrone from Moose will get a tag in the spam shots with a bit of reveal through the dark cover. Will be good. Steel falling for first blood. Not great news for 100 T fans.
And that is going to be a free orb tank coming through from Moose as well. He's like, you know what, I don't need the orb on the ground. I'm going to kill instead of Sooner diving right towards the back. A lot of utility coming through as well in support. Very aggressive wall over towards screens. You won't get a kill of the showstopper, but they will have a completely free site.
Defensive Hunter's Fury going to come through. Moose hoping to tag, stops the plant for now. Meanwhile, while that kind of clearance by Asuna came through, it's enough to allow Hiko to get a Hunter's Fury of his own. So 4v5 post-plant setup, now made a little bit more difficult as Thief enters with another engagement win. Proto up close and personal. Will be taken down. Ethan inside the dark cover, just holding on for dear life, but it's Dre who finds the kill. Trades back and forth, a 4v2, retake looking solid, but we've seen Hiko in this position do more extraordinary things. Hunter's Fury, as expected, will come through. Nitro on the flank, finds one on the exit. Dre gonna try to go for a bit of a snick on the plant, able to find it through halfway. Gonna do more than that. Hiko being pressured. They're gonna hold off on defusing for now. Hiko finds another kill, but he's not in range to contest. So the defusal will come through, and LG take a very important round early, up 3-1.
It's a very bloody round as well. We only have 3 people surviving, 2 on LG, 1 on the side of 100 Thieves. That's Hiko after burning an ultimate. To be fair, Moose also did throw in his own Hunter's Fury. You can see the rebuys here do not look comfortable, I think, for either team, despite LG winning that one, because they only retain 2 guns. They're going to have to really scrape through for the other 3 here, and that includes a Proto not having full armor. That includes Thief down to 0. Maybe doesn't have full utility here. Sooner looking like it'll just be a potential frenzy round. Wouldn't actually be too surprised if someone on 100 Thieves maybe drops their gun over for him. This is going to be a round where for 100 Thieves, What kind of opening can they get? Looking towards Ayers again, and that's going to be Ethan plus Asuna leaning in that direction. If they can get a gun into Asuna's hands, that would be great. Still have a res available too.
You know, LG have been doing a really nice committed job of making sure that they get their defense on B through yellow container. It's not just on it, they're through it. And they're taking away this entire lane. And for 100 Thieves, I don't know if they've fully recognized how many rounds in a row Luminosity have done this, but they continue to go over towards A, which is the first time that we'll see a Proto with his full setup here. He is also by himself for now. Here comes the hit from 100 Thieves. Resurrection has been earned. Wall will go down. A Proto, considering how far he wants to move forward, and as he considers, he will be taken away. First blood secured for Nitro and 100 Thieves as Ethan gets the plant laid.
And that's the thing, Ethan and the rest of the 100 Thieves, they managed to get a lot of control of the map via this very aggressive wall over towards screens. LG with the only solo anchor there being a Proto, can't trade for one. Now 100 Thieves in a great spot. Asuna still doesn't have a weapon, they can't quite pick up the drop gun, but they still have plenty of members. And again, I remind you, the resin play as well for this post plant.
Nitro on the lurking roll. Ethan Asuna gonna be good enough for 3. Nitro cleans up the final. And Asuna getting involved with the frenzy as well. Just good team shots coming through, denying the ability for even a slight instance of a retake for Luminosity. And now we've got 100 Thieves on a full gun round, whereas for Luminosity, it will have to be a save.
I do wonder for future gun rounds for LG, you know, what is their plan going to be for A? Because so far they've allowed 100 Thieves, you know, it's not every single time, but that round in particular, where it is just kind of a Proto trying to hold on for dear life. The rest of 100 Thieves managed to get themselves a very nice takeover towards A, and they did that previously via the showstopper result. They just completely clean out all defenders. This particular round, the LG are going to be stacking pretty hard over towards A. It's pistols though, so they need to look for close angles. The Proto's already pushing up. Look for potential timing. Has to be patient though. If he just swings, that's not really advisable. He probably goes down.
No instance for a trade either. Dre, almost an opportunity. Should be double chowed here, but wait a second. Finds one, nearly a chance at a second. And now 100 Thieves, as expected, start to take some power over the A site with the more formidable weapons.
It comes down to what kind of counter damage we can have out of this. Even the res as well for the tempo, so you can see the 100 Thieves, they really do value this much eco tempo as well. It's been a decent number of kills. If you consider the res coming into play, what is that, like 3 kills overall?
Yep.
So it's somewhat acceptable for LG, considering they just had the sheriffs. I mean, just looking for damage in that particular round, nothing really extra, nothing really too special. Ultimates though, 2 on the side of LG. A Proto's nearly on one, Stella's nearly onto the res as well. I think the lockdowns coming in play is going to be fairly important as we start moving ahead, because you sort of have this interesting interaction with both lockdowns can counter each other, and also then the 100 Sphere can counter the lockdowns as well. So finding a timing for the lockdown where if a Proto can get this well before Steel, they'll have an option to use this where Steel can't really counter it, and the rest of 100 Thieves also can't safely counter it.
Aggressive recon bolt just to see if 100 Thieves early once more are going to be coming over towards the A site. It is deleted. And once again, 100 Thieves just kind of stacking up for what seems to be another A hit. Early Al drones will also pass by one another. Information for Hiko that the Sage is going to be playing the back left corner. And for Luminosity, they have gone back to their normal default setup where a Proto is just lingering over towards B, holding for as long as possible. And here comes the hit for 100 Thieves, at least so it seems, as the Boombot's the first thing forward. And the commitment will be a bit stalled and delayed for now. Now it's, there we go, Blast Pack, Showstopper, denied a lot by the slow orb. Over the top, finds a bit of damage, but no confirmed kill. So 100 Thieves are now committing into this one without much information on what's on the site, including Dre, who does find one elimination. Paranoia is going to come through, but it's going to be the paint shells that actually force him further back. And while he is, it's Hiko who's now made things a 4v4.
Really important that Dre lives here, by the way. As soon as decide to go up the rope into top site to try and get this, showstopper ult, some value onto Stella. And then speaking of the showstopper, I mean, Stella does eventually die, but it's going to be a 3v3 where Thief's the one that actually gets the kill here. Low numbers now in this final 2 remaining for 100 Thieves trying to hold on to the push line.
Big help from Thief, but now Hiko's pushing through, finds one, tries to snap, gets a second, looking for his 4th kill in total in the round. Why not? Have yourself a birthday, sir. . Cool kid sprays only. 4-3 up goes 100 T.
That was looking very difficult at one stage as well. You have Dre swinging through. You have the fact that he kills a planter of Nitro there. You have to have a situation where 100 Thieves can cleanly get the spike back in control, get the plant down safely. And there was also a lot of consideration in terms of the setup for how this round plays out. You noted, by the way, I think you said, Alan, that it was just a Proto anchoring solo over towards B, which he had done a couple times on A as well. So it was a heavy A presence rather coming through from the side of LG. If there was even one person from 100 Thieves lurking or doing a default over towards B and they noted that B was clean, you would have probably have seen 100 Thieves rotate all the way towards B, and LG would have been very late to the party.
Luminosity, they're going to be tested here on B for the first time, and it is in the face of a full gun round for 100 Thieves, where Luminosity are just on pistols and I think a Bucky or two. Proto holding over by Yellow is going to be in a really awful spot. Still finds one. Boombot chasing him down, but gets away. Brilliant slow orb placement, if I'm being honest, from Stellar, just to try to gain a little bit of space, but it's not quite enough, as the trade will be there and we'll go 4v4.
Excellent placement of the turret there as well, which allows Steel to not get swung on by your boy Drake. Obviously, we know Proto is going to be an absolute nightmare with the Sheriff. He gets the one kill. We'll see if LG can maybe make more work with it. I don't know if they actually got a gun out of that. At least have made sure that there's not going to be a flank coming through, and well, Steel still goes to the tube anyway, so here it is. Maybe that flank is in. Dre on the other side, though.
Steel, it's almost as if he could smell Dre, but it's Steve who comes out to help, finds one, and shot did connect onto Ethan, but it was not enough for elimination, so it's just down to Dre. 1v3, a couple of low health pools. Not out of the realm of possibility, but he would have to collapse on a ton of open space to even see a 100 Thieves member, let alone find kills. And also the defuse behind that. The weapon to use, there's the first, finds the kill. 70 HP still to play with. Dark cover's gonna come through. And before it really fully embellished the entirety of the spike, Hiko finds the kill. And 100 Thieves able to get through, but it does come at a bit of a cost here, Avril.
And Dre had about 8 bullets left as well, so it's going to be pretty tough. I think the real cost here is the amount of members that go down to the 100 Thieves side, but beyond that as well, if Dre gets into the kill, he probably forces Hunter's Fury, or he forces some real big response, I think, from Hiko. If he gets the extra Hunter's Fury, that would have been totally worth. So damage is still somewhat relevant in these early rounds. I say that as you look over towards 100 Thieves money, and it's actually pretty strong, but you know, just to make sure that for the rest of the 4 rounds here, keeping 100 Thieves honest in terms of making sure that you're at least forcing the rebuys. It's LG who need to start looking towards getting more rounds in a row to secure this economy. It's not obviously you're getting rounds because you want to win the rounds, but in terms of economy, all they're doing is getting loss bonuses right now. They're not really getting much more than that. They have some ultimates. In fact, got a lot of ultimates coming online, but so do 100 Thieves.
So expect fireworks, I think, and well, Asuna's not gonna wait, just go straight through, but Dre was here waiting for it, finds a second behind the play as well. Hiko with the early Hunter's Fury to see if he could stall any defensive rotators to get in the site, is now thinking that that was used relatively empty, as Dre is gonna find all 3 kills just playing from that back left corner. Hiko finally sick of it, but takes him off the board, but might be just a day late and $1 short here, or the 2v4 still to kind of navigate for 100 Thieves.
You see, that's a really good read by your boy Dre, who has, I think now seen a couple times that it is going to be Asuna aggressively double packing all the way to the back of the site. He goes kind of the same way every single time as well. So all it really takes is one time for Dre to know the timing of it, swing by, know probably where Asuna is going to be in the air, find the headshot required, and take him down. No shopper involved at all. The last 30 seconds, 100 Thieves going quiet and maybe try and force LG away, but this is going to be it. Now Moose gets the kill, just one alive from Steel. And he'll get cleaned up.
Well, he finds one. I think. Is this his lockdown as well? But there's only 15 seconds to play. He does not have this spike. He will be able to recover it here. A bit of trapeze artistry going on. But this is going to be contested. And, well, as it is, Stellar from the high ground finds elimination. And LG bring us back to within 1.
To be fair, I think that was the lockdown coming through while Hiko was still in play, or while there was still 2 members alive. So,
yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, the lockdown comes through. You have the extra death coming through from 100 Thieves as well. It ends up being a 1v3. Otherwise, I don't think that would have really been Steel using a lockdown in a 1v3. He would have just accepted that loss. But it really starts with your boy Drake getting that kill into Asuna, then converting onto 2 further. Still a couple of deaths on the LG side, and 100 Thieves making it interesting towards the back end. But now that we do have LG securing a round win, something looks slightly better in the economics of the game, plus 4 ultimates, it should be pretty good to take, at least I would say 5 and 7, if not 6 and 6 should be the end of the half.
Early defensive Hunter's Fury as Moose is trying to read information through the middle of the map. He does tag up a couple, and Proto from the flank collapses onto 3. Beautiful timing between the two of them. And Luminosity, big round here in what was a 5v2. But Ethan and Hiko together are definitely not to be ruled out.
One thing they have on their side is time. They have Hiko alive as well, which is always good to have a late round. Aldron's gone, though. Recon's not up for another 25-ish kind of seconds here. Thief gets a timing, and with Hiko down, Ethan in a 1v4, and potentially even a 1v5, considering if things get really, really bad, Stella can go for the rares, but Thief is there, has the angle, has a line secured. And for 100 Thieves, they get shut down big time by Proto over towards, I believe, where was it? Orange. He was near the mid-angle. Then the cleanup towards the end of the round, 2v4, not expecting too much.
I mean, this is the Hunter's Fury. Again, you see 2 low members that are in the mix. A lot of information given up. And then Thief from there, just able to play cleanup crew. And now all of a sudden, you're tied 5-5. Yes, it's still going to be another full gun round here for 100 Thieves, but there might not be enough time to get most of these kind of big execute ultimates back into your favor before the half if you're 100 Thieves, unless you've got a very clean round coming up here.
100 Thieves going for some mid control. It pays off as well. They've been seeing that Moose has been playing over towards Boiler, so now they finally get a timing on him. That's huge as well, because having Moose alive for the retake is important. Stella knows that LG know they've been holding up the wrist for a while. They'll finally be able to cash that one in with good timing. A Proto does have a little bit of information to see where Suna was, and at this point in time, with the rest of the Utah flying in towards A, LG respond, 4 of them are here.
Exchange of omen abilities, while the Aldrone offensively for 100 Thieves is able to free up a couple of members forward, including Nitro, who does get a barrier orb down. Spike also being committed, but the defensive showstopper comes out, does take down Nitro. It's the Spike completely taken off the field. Asuna trying to move his way forward, finds one. Knows it's a second up top as he sees the ponytail of the Sage, but instead just tries to play the OBJ. Steel watching over, finds another elimination. 3v3 we go, but the retake quick to come through as the lockdown is also planted in place. Asuna could even get away from this right now is the real question. Steel for sure can, but Asuna has to go towards danger, gets taken down, and the Detain also gets in. Steel cannot fully get away. The chase is coming. Can he recover fast enough? The answer, no. Stellar sticking for the defuse, and LG, a huge round for them. They break this tie and go up 6-5.
Yeah, that showstopper for Thief was incredible, taking Nitro down, stopping the plant, making Asuna overcommit as well to have to go for this plant as soon as then, like, well, I'm already very far ahead. Lockdown comes through here, makes an attempt to destroy the lockdown, which is admirable, gets taken down. I don't think he had enough ammo. Steel being caught towards the end there. What I'm going to say is, even if Steel doesn't get detained, that last situation would have been pretty tough for him to play regardless. So just being detained makes LG's job that much easier. And finally, we are going to see operate on the field as well for Thief, who would, again, normally be playing the Jet here, but both teams have decided to move away from that in favor of the Razors, or especially for LG. They did used to play Jet here. 100 Thieves have no plans to play Jet here at all.
Early bit of damage actually going to be put into play, forcing out an early healing orb from Stellar. That was onto Dre, I believe. So a bit of confirmation of some initial tagging going on for 100 Thieves. Thief, Operator now swapping back to the Vandal. Plenty of economy to make sure he's got both weapons in play here for the final round of the half. And 100 Thieves are going to once again just try to make their way over to the Paranoia. We'll get things started. Nitro with a wall, and he's just got barely enough space to get this plant down from this location. Thief trying to do what he can to stall it, but is unsuccessful. But while turning back over, it's going to be Thief and Stellar who find a couple of headshots before 100 Thieves can fully set up their post plant. So now it's going to be down to somebody special to make a play, and well, now it's just down to Nitro. Does find 2. The problem is he's so far away from the rest of his teammates, you can only get one res into play. It is Ethan, and, well, there's the push through. Moose will confirm technically 4, and LG will exit the half 7-5. We'll send things over to a small break, swap the sides, and get a little bit of a recap before we get into the second mix of things here in Icebox when we come back after this.
Switching sides.
Lavril, statistically, the offensive half is the stronger half for 100 Thieves, but they come away with only a 5-7. What's your initial thoughts just after the first half?
Really good run by 100 Thieves. You can see in the middle towards, what, round 5 onwards, 5, 6, 7, 8 there, 4 in a row. And for LG, look, I thought there was going to be a bit of a comeback from LG. I knew they had ultimates coming back on. I knew they just needed to kind of win one round, reset the economy a little bit, get a couple more rounds in a row. I was expecting kind of like a 6 finish, but for LG to go 7-5 was actually really impressive towards the end there, especially via some massive heroics. We saw multiple rounds where one player or the other from LG really pulled together something special. You saw a Proto, so your boy Dre getting the kill into Asuna mid-air. You saw, it was right at the end, Moose as well for the double. So out of some very impressive individual plays from LG being set up in good areas, LG string together probably one extra round than I thought they were going to get on that particular defense. And on the offense, shifting towards B early on. The Thieves, can they respond?
Dicey fight. Just barely getting the better of Asuna, but Steel responds a little blast pack play from Thieves, so we stay even 4v4. And how about this? Actually, the spike is still not planted yet. Again, a little bit of artistry here from Steel as he finesses on the ropes. He will find elimination, and that is not a spike plant in the mix. So we go 3v2 after everything is all said and done in favor of 100 T's defense.
It's still no spike plant either, so this is going to be very difficult now. Segments of the wall have been broken as well, so it's not entirely safe. The smoke, try and cover at least the opportunity for Moose to get a plant in. He's not gone for it just yet. There's still a lot of danger lurking around. Your boy drowned 2 HP though, and limited time here as well to try and get everything done on his lonesome 1v2. There might even still be a heal coming up for 100 Thieves, so this doesn't get easier.
Oh. Stop for a second there with Nitro and Hiko on top of each other. There was maybe an opportunity for a bit of a double tap, but it's going to be the single tap of Hiko at the end just to let him know exactly how things then felt. But talk about the play from Steel, just finessing that rope, never allowing Stellar to get the spike planted. That ends up winning the round in my mind.
And a very respectable one tap from Hiko as well. I know you already brought it up, but that's just it's the difference between just like emptying a clip into a dead body versus the very respectable, like, I see your body there. I'm gonna go for a one tap, and that's gonna be it for the end of the round. But speaking of Steel, yeah, I think bringing up his initial kill onto, I believe it was Stellar, who was trying to go for the plant, massive in terms of the tempo of that particular round. Is LG now looking for a bit more of a standard default, one mid, one towards B, just to see if it could be open, possible contact even. Went through for Thief.
Well, it's gonna, we'll still be in play potentially. Oh, right underneath.
The wall on A
Thief.
is weird, by the way.
He's gonna see the information, gets the tap. It's just a lurk play as well. What does that do to 100 T's defense? It's actually gonna push Asuna to actually play a little bit closer to B. This is gonna make things much easier for LG. They're gonna have numbers as they try to approach over towards A.
I think LG should be able to pull over more because LG have gone completely silent on A. Ethan doesn't know what's going on here. He sees the wall come down, but besides that, it's just like nothing's happening here. Meanwhile, they dropped the player on B. If it wasn't for the fact that Asuna's here to check, LG could have overcommitted. But now Asuna actually looking towards green. They know it's a fake. They know that LG should be still committing to A, and that's because of Asuna pushing up as far as he has.
All right, well, point of contact about to come through. Ethan will read it. Steps down. Nitro going to slow the approach, at least from one side. Will force LG over towards Ethan's direction, in which he finds the first, tries for the second. Why not? How about a third up top? No, but the trade will be there. 3-for-1 exchange. Nitro cleaning up the pieces, just down to a Proto, and he's already been figured out inside the dark cover. Beautiful clearance from Asuna, just playing through the flank, and then beyond that, even better for Ethan just to respond to all the players coming his direction.
I think LG, or maybe they would have been a little bit shocked towards the end there. They were probably thinking A has got to be more clear than this. There's no way there's like 2 people still waiting on A. There's a real world where perhaps, I mean, I know Thief doesn't want to overcommit. I know he doesn't want to potentially give his life away after getting one kill. It would be kind of foolish to die there, but he doesn't know there's no one else sitting on A at all. It would have been free gun if he went for it. But that's kind of hindsight information here. And then LG kind of waited long enough for Asuna to then eventually get that rotate in, and for 100 Thieves to have that kind of discipline to not just fully rotate off A and keep still more than a few members there, that's massive for them winning that round.
Or for the cojones for Asuna just to play through A by himself, in which he very well could have given over a weapon if LG was positioned over towards A, or pardon me, towards B.
B, yeah.
Yeah. So Thief once more, playing a solo mission. Asuna's on the other side of yellow. Could once again be point of contact, but Asuna not feeling nearly as frisky this round, at least not as of yet. The spike is actually rotating over, so maybe an instance where LG want to try to follow up on Thieves' position.
I think the one area of the map they're not too sure about is Tube right now if you're 100 Thieves, but being behind yellow is really good because so far it hasn't been checked, and we've started to note for defending teams as well, having yellow control super important, backed with a lot of utility, and Asuna might have a timing for a swing. He indeed does. Just the one is fine for now. Oh my god, he nearly got 3. That would have been so big, but 100 Thieves now have more than enough kills to win the round.
I mean, how brilliant, though, is this setup for 100 Thieves and the combination of Asuna and Steel? Our observers, you know, big credit there. They kind of show you where the Alarm Bot and Nano Swarm is. And then as soon as Asuna wants to take the challenge, Steel hits the Nano Swarm to clear any close contenders, and it gives him a free look at a pretty wide angle. It's really nice polarity between both of those two. Leaving now LG in a 2v3 situation, not a lot of time. And Dre's going to recognize that there are a couple of contestants right through orange. Now up to just Moose, 1v3, no time to plant, would have to be the eliminations, will not even be able to do that, and 100 Thieves will have a handful of weapons to collect as they go shopping at the end of the round.
Super devastating round for LG to lose, and a massive pickup there for 100 Thieves as well in terms of the economy. This comes down just from a great timing from Asuna. I'm a little surprised no one from LG even really looked at yellow. They just assumed it was clear. They didn't personally clear it themselves. They drop a number of deaths before even really getting towards a spike plant. Lose their spike planet. End in a 1vx situation. Despite killing Steel, I mean, that's the only thing they got to work with. LG now. Is it going to be an increased tempo? Do they go for something different here? It's upgraded pistols all around for the team. A couple of smokes coming through over towards A just to keep 100 Thieves guessing, and more slow walking through B. This time no one's going to be there to meet them just yet.
I guess I'm just kind of curious. You go back a couple of rounds ago where LG get that first pick from Thief. Did they maybe miss a timing on when to hit? Maybe they're playing mid-touch too cautious. Now they're looking to just get right onto B. Nanostorm is in a position to stop maybe a default plant. But LG have not revealed their position whatsoever. There's been no utility sent out. Now finally the Barrier Orb comes in. Proto will also be scouted down by the Owl drone. And as he does, the play through the middle of the map will come through. Meanwhile, though, off-screen, Stellar finds one of his own. So it goes 4v4. Stellar looking to get the plant off, and he once again gets shrugged backwards. Thief on a bit of a flank play, only able to get one. The Hunter's Fury is also in the mix. That's from the offensive Luminosity, but 100 Thieves have already once again stopped the plant and retaken the B site.
Flashes come through as well. Smokes come down over towards yellow. There's going to be very limited support coming through from Moose for the rest of the round. Unless he wants to try and swing by, he'll do that. He'll go down. 100 Thieves will pick up their 9th round, 4th in a row for this particular half as well, feeding the ult charge over towards Nitro, secures the resurrection for the following round, and 100 Thieves on their way to double digits, I'm starting to believe here, as LG, I mean, yeah, it was just the Sheriff round, it was just the Thrifty, wasn't it? It was just an eco coming on through. They are really, I don't know, not a lot to be found there, not even in terms of getting enough damage done. Plant's decent for at least the money. I think getting the plant minimum allows people to be a little bit more comfortable in picking up the utility and whatnot. 3 ultimates online for 100 Thieves are an all pretty important one. All 3 massive.
Look, it's just 100 Thieves defense has been their weaker side, and a lot of that is weighted by the T1 game where they gave up 11 offensive rounds. But that is a couple of different rounds where they have stalled LG's initial plan. The first time around when we mentioned it, it never came down. The second time right there, it does eventually get into play, but it's not nearly as quickly as Luminosity were hoping for, and it gives such a big opportunity for 100 Thieves to contest the post plant much faster. So now a lot of ultimates on the table for what will be a very important gun round, surely. Spike is left over through middle, and a Proto will be dealing with what was essentially a 1v2 off screen. He gets the first, but is immediately traded, so we go 4v4 with the 60 seconds to play.
Spike hasn't been collected yet, so LG will need to go back for that one. But the fact they got the wall down early, Nitro's wall is gone, that's going to be important for LG eventually, being that 100 Thieves will maybe struggle a little bit more in the retake there. Breeze is going to come through as well. So still 5v4 situation. The rest of the ultimates for 100 Thieves are still really good. They still have a lockdown for the retake, so maybe they're not too concerned about losing the wall early. Speaking of contesting, by the way, you did have Thief kind of walking around B, but his team had already committed, or was still definitely committing towards A. So despite B being clean, they're deep on A now, but 100 Thieves are here pretty much with all members.
Yeah, so this is going to feel like a 3v5 right now for Luminosity. Defensive lockdown is placed in a beautiful timing. Ethan, as his dark cover expires, will he try to challenge this plant or just find the kill as soon as the exit comes through? He will do the latter, finds the easy elimination. Now we actually have a true 5v3. Nitros is going to immediately stick for at least half of this. He's going to stand up maybe for a little bit longer, but as he does, it's Luminosity who are able to pick up the pieces. A bit of a flank coming over. This is also to try to make his way in, finds the first kill. Bit of panic, but things will calm down for just a moment. Now a 1v1. Raise on raise. Showstopper, blast back over the top, and oh, Asuna blindly takes down Thief, clears the space with every bit of utility, throws out a deep Showstopper, and 100 Thieves successfully get the defuse.
Is there like something that's the opposite of a Rosa ult? Because that's like the opposite of seeing a kill, not getting it with a Showstopper versus basically blindly throwing through a Showstopper and it landing perfectly in a 1v1. Asuna with the clutch. Take a look at that again. He just got, I think he might have just barely have seen Thief's head or spoken out with something, but limited information for sure. That needed to be massive because that round was looking like it was going LG. You have to know as well, Thief also had a Showstopper. If Asuna goes for the defuse and the timing is good enough for Thief, which it probably would have been, Thief goes for his own ultimate and the round is over. Like, that's it. So 100 Thieves, 10 rounds collected, and 5 in a row in a round that it looked like LG were going to get.
Unreal. The boom bot to clear space early, the paint shells kind of clearing mid-range, and then the Showstopper downtown. Lockdown very early here. Eco trying to finesse with the shock darts. It was close, and TNT, both of them just a bit high, but this attacking lockdown will only gain them a bit of space. And Ethan is actually checking to see would there actually be a defensive rotation back around. He does commit. He was detained, as you mentioned, but he will be able to recover. And now technically 100 Thieves have given up the site, but they could play for full surround on the retake, in which Ethan already has found first blood.
The res is available, but they have to go back for that one. Right now, they're pretty hard committed. Asuna on the Thief again. Asuna going big. 3 kills. And Asuna right now, he's carrying on the performance for not just the last round, but the last map as well. This entire day, 100 Thieves, 5 plays alive, a flawless round, 11 now, and 6 in a row for 100 Thieves off the back of major heroics from Asuna. How many kills is he on? This is 20 plus for sure now.
I mean, he, in the last match he played versus Genji, when Bind, I think they were through 7 rounds. He was on like 14 or 15 kills and only 2 deaths. This is just unreal. I mean, what? It's like, bruh. I'm sure plenty of sheesh is going around in the chat right now. That's just unbelievable. 21 and 14.
Getting the way here, and this is the kind of performance you want to see out of a duelist. When you've only got one of them, you better hope your one duelist is packing some real heat. And right now, he's doing more than that. He's packing it and then some on a real heater for both teams. And for LG, when you think they should be winning some more of these, they're really not. They still have ultimates to play through, and I feel like they got to start leading into some of that. There's no time to even raise. I mean, as soon as just flying through your team, getting these skills so fast, you don't get a chance to just slow things down, get one player back in. They're basically forcing into this round as well. I mean, 3 people have rifles. You have Share for a Proto, which is, you know, on his best day, probably just equivalent to a rifle for a Proto anyway. Bulldog on Stella. Still workable. But it's been a number of workable rounds, and all 6 of them so far in this half have not gone their way.
Now, here's the thing. For Luminosity, you've... I was going to say survived through a handful of ultimates, but you didn't. But you've got an opportunity here with a Showstopper and res of your own to try to reduce this gap, but Asuna has other things in mind. Steel also just spamming through the double box, trying to get as much damage as possible. Oh my goodness! Asuna, what in the world? They know exactly where the last player in a Proto is. He's going to be stuck between a rock, a hard place, and an Asuna, and oh my goodness, 100 Thieves. 12-7 map point.
Asuna refuses to lose today. He refuses to lose. It doesn't matter who he goes up against. It doesn't matter what the matchup is. It doesn't matter what the odds are. His aim is perfect here. It's just the... Look at this. Look at the transfer. Asuna's on... I don't even know what's going on. This is like... To say he's on a heater would be an understatement now. The scoreline is incredible. It's 2 in a row as well in terms of not just the rounds that we're seeing, but again, on the last map versus Genji as well that you outlined, it's very similar. It's Asuna going absolute buck wild, and he just has not slowed down, has not taken his foot off the pedal.
I mean, it's just, there's not enough words. I mean, throughout this entire weekend, every single map, there's moments where you can just be like, okay, Asuna might just be the best player in the game. Opportunity for maybe a 1v1 here versus Proto. Yeah, why not?
He's too sharp, man. He's too sharp. He just flicks to the head. Can't challenge him. You can't challenge. You have to mark him with like 2 people now. Okay, Moose will get it through the wall, at least with an ultimate. As soon as like, that's cheating, buddy. But LG Reinhardt need all the help they can get. They need a lot of help as Hiko's going to slow down this plant, prevent it from coming on through LG. They might even want to think about, no, they can't go for the risk, can they? They would love to make this a 5v4, but I think it would be too dangerous. Now about 40-ish kind of seconds remaining. They are moving the spike all the way off, potentially going over towards A. Nitro will be the only responder there. That's if Ethan doesn't spot a rotation over towards mid either. Thief might just want to stick around and lurk to keep the rest of 100 Thieves interested. Left. But we'll see how many members of 100 Thieves actually start moving around the map, as LG themselves are not super decided. They move to A and now come back to B.
Yeah, Ethan will get a little bit of a read here as well, so they should know that this is going to be a pretty last-second hit. I think the question is, what do you do to deal with Steel right now? I mean, he is locked up. The sentry turret is in a solid position. Ethan walked in the opposite angle. All right, let's go to Ascent. 4v1 situation. Dre, not enough time for a plant, not enough time for the kills. And Asuna and this rolling hoop tape that he's been able to put on throughout the day continues. 13-7, 100 Thieves up 1.
Wrap it up.
Dude.
Tie it in a bow. Send it off. Asuna, signed, sealed, and delivered here. By far the most outstanding player. I've crossed both teams on this server today in this particular matchup. It is ridiculous what he's pulling off. I mean, you can't challenge this guy at 1v1. You just can't challenge him at all. He's winning clutches. He's getting insane multi-kills off spray transfers, just everything. He's doing everything, and he's being supported by some of the best players as well on his team. And, you know, he's got full support on the team. It's basically 4 supports in Asuna. It's like 5 protect 1 here. I feel like I'm looking at a MOBA where you just have this one juggernaut carry coming through on Asuna, destroying the other team. And now it's gone from like, you know, I'm going to dive in front of a rocket to save my boomers to like 4 boomers protect me. You know what I'm saying? So...
Unreal. Well, you mentioned signed, sealed, and delivered, and apparently, like a fool, LG went and stayed just a touch too long, but Stevie Wonder lyrics aside, we'll send things away for a break, and we'll come back to kind of give you the recap, which is essentially just going to be a highlight reel full of Asuna, and we'll get things set up for Ascent when we come back after right this break.
What sound experience would you like today?
I'll have the fantasy pack.
Good choice.
And could you make it a Cloud 2 wireless?
On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing.
Oh,
baby. Contrast stitching. Curves that'll hug your body. Adjustable arms. Custom embroidery. Memory foam pillows. Changeable color inserts. Lay flat, recline. Removable logos. Soft, durable material. Yeah. You like what you see, baby? Zip chair.
I feel like I need to defend my scene's honor here, because this is just turning into a bit of a dog battle.
Like in groups always look.
I'm cutting you off here. I'm cutting you off. Cutting you off. He said G2's winning it. He said G2's winning it.
need to wait till the next EU tournament, which could be in about 10 years now.
Take it with like a grain of salt.
No,
But
that's
that
no
being
fun.
said,
Take it super literally.
Spike defused.